Hi everyone, welcome back again to Spiritual Growth Tarot, although this will be astrology. I'm Denise, my name is Denise, and I'm going to take you through the week of February 27th, Sunday, February 27th through Saturday, March 5th, and look at the trends, all the astrological transits, movements, trends, whatever you want to call them, as well as the phases or transits of the moon through the days. So anyway, have a lot of cool charts here to show you. Let me drop the camera down and get started. Okay, so if you're new to my channel or new to astrology, you'll be able to follow along. Don't worry, because I talk you through it. But just know that I set up the charts at 4 a.m. Pacific time so that it's not too late, 7 a.m. basically Eastern time, and 8 a.m. Atlantic time if you're that far up north. So anyway, also another note is that I can't set up I have to do like a 0 Aries, whole sign type of a chart, because I don't know where you are, right? But if you do astrology, and you set this at your time zone, you'll have a certain sign right here at the ascendant, and that can be very important with the ascendant, because I believe the ascendant magnetizes our life experience. So, but anyway, for general purposes here, I have to leave it this way. So that's why we have 0, and whole sign houses. And I also won't be speaking to the meanings or giving, due credit to the meanings of the houses, because I don't know where you are and I don't want to say the wrong thing. Because the houses, and we're talking locational, the geography of astrology. So, but anyway, this week I also went Sunday through Sunday, because Saturday looked a little, well, I just didn't want to leave you hanging. So as I go through the chart, you'll see, we're actually going to have 8 days here. But next week I'll start with Monday and I'll go through Sunday. Because I realize, you guys probably want the whole weekend together, those days read together instead of breaking it up. Right? So anyway, and I always upload early, so you'll have them ahead of time, but my members get them first, and they get them ad-free. So if you want to join, as a member, it's only $10 a month, and you'll get this every single week. So okay, so let's dive in here. Many of these transits here are going to be for all week and beyond. For instance, well, we can see that the sun moves a degree every day, but this Neptune trine the south node here, this is all week and beyond. Neptune rules all things spiritual. At the best, it's spiritual bliss and connected to our source energy, and especially in Pisces, we're in that compassionate, just open realm of pure potentiality. But at its worst, it can be victimhood, it can be blaming, it can be scapegoating, it can be gaslighting, and with challenging aspects, which we don't have right now, for us, but we do in the USA geographical chart, or USA chart of independence. We've got literally a Neptune opposition going on, and in a square to Mars. I'm going to do another reading on that soon, so that we have the Neptune conjunct, Jupiter conjunct Neptune reading up for you guys. But just know that at its worst, it's it's scapegoating, gaslighting, it's disinformation, information warfare, it's lies and half truths, which is still a lie. And then even on a spiritual, just human level, if I leave out I can't leave out the mundane, because we're all, I believe anyway, that we're all, human beings having a well, we're spiritual beings in our core. That's who we are. And I believe in the nucleus of every cell in our body. But we're having a very human experience, here on Earth, which is dualistic. It's like we come from this realm of unity, but we're here having this dualistic experience. And needing to remember to open up to the unity and not get so caught up in the either or, like either we're bad or wrong, or either we're good or bad, either we're right or wrong, I should say, good or bad. It's all pleasure or all pain. It's not that way. And many things are not life or death that we kind of cling to. So it's such a, it's a spiritual progression of experience to get into that unitive state. And I'm telling you, I still have trouble myself, even though I've been on my path for, I don't know, maybe 40 years now. So anyway, to get back to this conglomeration here, we have this opening that will be guiding us to move towards our spirits, honoring that we're human, and letting go of the wanting to escape, right? Because Neptune and Pisces can bring in the challenge of just wanting to escape. Now, I hear you when it comes to having good, healthy boundaries. Like I have certain periods in the evening and morning, late evening and, well, not too late, but evening and morning, where I don't watch the news. I don't, it's my time, and it's my time for positive pleasure. And I don't watch the news, going into sleep time, into dream time, just never. So that's one of the positive things with this this conjunction together. It will open us up more to dream time, spirit connection, blissful experiences, opening up to the all. And but for some people, it will be confusing, and they will want to escape, and it can be drugs and alcohol. It can be apathy, not caring. And, so it's on the human level, on the soul level, if we're in our confusion, or if we're in a confusing place, just hold space for yourself, love yourself through it, and know that something is opening for you that is so much greater than our mental constructs, right? We can just let go of our heads, drop into our spirits, and do some deep breathing, and come into our bodies. The planets are all, well, they're always conspiring to, to help us come back to who we truly are. And that is especially true here with this Neptune trining the South Node, right? So there are other things going on. I mean, look at all the trines here to the North Node as well. So I'll speak to both. So first I want to stick with Neptune because I started there in a nebulous type of a realm. But we can dissolve any unhealthy aspects of ego. Now, you don't totally, I don't believe we ever let go of our ego. We need our ego to balance our checkbooks, do the shopping, do our, keep our lives together. But we can put our ego in the service of our spirits if we intend, and we always work towards that. And that's what we have going on here. We have the South Node, where there can be, in Scorpio, where there can be so much transformation if we're willing to be with Neptune, with this connection. Because I believe that Neptune's there to hold space for us to connect with our hearts, to connect with our, and especially in Pisces, Neptune rules Pisces. Jupiter was before Neptune was discovered, it was Jupiter, but now we have both. The co-rulers of compassionate, loving, sensitive, mystical, spiritual Pisces together. So this is amazing, and it's going to, closer and closer together. By April, we will have a conjunction here. And again, I'll talk more about that. So we're talking, our devotion to ourselves, our ability to channel art of any type, and I have no judgment over what type of art. I think getting through a day is an art. But opening up to those blissful states and just being with what is, and then to be compassionate for yourselves in the human condition. But to do all of that, we can heal. We can literally go deep and heal our past. There's a South Node in Scorpio. South Node's about our past. And we're moving towards, with this Taurus North Node, and the nodes go backwards. So we start out at the higher degrees and then move to the lower degrees. So it starts out being pretty intense, right? And we know that that's been the case. We're here observing life on Earth, and we know it's been intense. So it should get better, but the task here with this North and South Node, with the North Node in Taurus, it has to do with holding space for us to, the nodes of the moon are holding space for us to know that while, our spirits are completely safe, they can never be destroyed. They will always live on, right? That's the lesson that's coming through here on so many levels. Our humanity has a real need for safety. Even though we are eternal beings that can't be destroyed in essence, our humanity has a real need for safety and a real need for connection. And that's what we're dealing with here with Taurus, with this North Node in Taurus. And we've just gotten through, but we're going to have a retrograde again where we have Saturn squaring Uranus. That brought up the issue as well, because Uranus is in Taurus too. And Uranus is moving this way as the North Node is going this way. So they will conjunct in the future, and it will be even more intense, but it will be freeing and liberating, and there should be an awakening for many people to know that deeper connection to positive pleasure, to know that state of blissed out love, where we value ourselves and we value each other, and we have some healing around our self-worth. And that's especially true with this trine up here to all these Earth. I mean, look at this, Earth trining Earth. This stellium in Earth is amazing, and especially with the moon in Capricorn today. It's crossed over Venus and Mars, of course. This might be a very intense day because the moon conjunct Pluto can be intense. And Pluto rules Scorpio, so we've got this connection here to the past. And, I can't not talk about what Putin has done in Ukraine, and he thinks that Ukraine doesn't have the right to exist. Well, that's this sesquisquare here that's going on in Chiron. Chiron in Aries needs to know that it has the right to exist, and that's a real need to know that you matter. And to belong to yourself and keep loving yourself no matter what. So we've got this tension field going on here. And Mercury to square Uranus. If you guys have been feeling a little some nervous tension, this is why, right? I've been feeling that myself, and I'm generally somebody who just goes around pretty peaceful. But I keep noticing myself that I have to stop and take a deep breath and let go. And I notice when I, go into meditation, it takes me a little bit more to get grounded. And that's because this has been this buildup. But it'll pass. Mercury moves pretty darn quick, and it will pass. But you can see how we had 11 degrees here. We had an exact square. Well, we're probably going through it right now because I'm doing this I do these readings on Thursday prior to. So And as of last night, well, it would be early. I guess it was early. I don't know exactly what time, but that's when Putin started his movement into Ukraine. So there's strength in prayers to go out for compassionate love. I believe that there will be some hard lessons for him, but I don't want to bring too much of him into this. I just want to honor the fact that we are going through a very, very, very challenging and painful time, and I can see it all right here. So, let's see, with Neptune, Neptune's in a sextile here to right up here. You can see how it's at 22, and it's at this sextile to Venus and Mars because they're conjunct, right? Joined together. This is today only, but it does bring, because they're going to move this way. It's today only, but it does bring openings that can remain there for those who get through, like get under that veil of illusion, and wake up and remember who you truly are in spirit. I mean, we have a beautiful week that is there. I think it can be intense, but it's also beautiful to go through the signs of, to go through any signs with the moon, but this week the moon will go through the signs of Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces, and Aries. We're going to end up with the moon over here at the end of the week, and I'll show you that chart in a little bit. So anyway, there's the power of the people with the moon conjunct Pluto, the power of the people in unity for integrity. The best sense of Pluto and Capricorn, and in Capricorn in general, is integrity and actions and movements and deeds and even attitudes that move towards integrity, which means that we're all equal. And and then with the nodes here in Taurus and Scorpio combined, and you can see that there's this aspect to the architect here. This will be in alignment here for quite some time. And I see this as, because I studied spiritual law for years, I see this as the lever law, where once you get yourself in a place of divine order, like if you're working, now it doesn't mean that you're going to feel like you're in it every day, right? But if you're working to organize your soul in a way that's aligned with love, your spirit will guide you constantly, because it's already in the blissed out state of love, where it's all love. Like imagine living in a place where you can't even have a negative thought. That's where the totality of your spirit lives. And we each have these lifetimes where we incarnate just a piece of an ego fragment that needed to heal. And the more we heal it, the more our spirit comes through. So we're literally moving through life with the opportunity every day to spiritualize matter. So the matter in our bodies, we're here on earth, we have these bodies, but we hail from this divine realm. So with every breath, if we're opening up to love, and that means just dealing with what is and loving yourself through it and loving other people through it, and knowing that we all have bad days, bad moments, bad thoughts, or I don't mean to say bad, but just negative thoughts, right? Like, and negativity to me is just anything that negates life, that negates the possibility of the potential that life holds for us. That anytime we go into our I'm not good enough, or I'm not worthy, or I'm bad, or I'm wrong, or there's something wrong with me, or I don't belong, or I don't matter, those are all soul splits. Those are all pieces of soul substance that, we have a mental construct around it, and we have a lot of good reasons to have the false belief, but it's not true. Still doesn't make it true. But we have the reasons because of the horrific past lifetimes we've lived through. So hold yourself softly and gently as you move through life and dismantle those false beliefs. And that is truly like our life's work. So currently, back to these nodes here, and we've got this opportunity to get into the truth of who we truly are. And then the lever law comes in and just like opens a gate. It's like, okay, you got it. Now you're in. Now the divine order of the universe just hands things over to you on a daily basis for you to open up more and more and more. So, yeah, I love it. So anyway, with the nodes here, we just have to remember that the nodes are always, they're moving through space. They're points in space. They're a reflection of the moon. And I believe the moon has to do with our, working to heal our egos. And then what we wind up doing is going through life because we're held in this web of love. And we have these endless opportunities to reconcile the dualistic, splits within, the inner dualistic splits of consciousness. So in the highest realms of this polarity here, right, because all the signs have polarities, with Taurus and Scorpio, we're in the realm of blissed out love, valuing and honoring the fact that we're human, loving our bodies no matter what, no matter how well they work or not, no matter how we look or how we think we look. And then, anytime we're comparing ourselves against others, we're violating a spiritual law, so don't do that. We're all beautiful. Each and every one of us is beautiful inside and out. So, but we're going to have these past life experiences where we didn't feel that. And we have a real need for human safety and a real need, if you don't get anything else out of this, reading today, please get this. We all as humans have a real need for connection. We are interdependent upon each other and we all need to be connected to each other at the heart level, in the heart levels. And we also have a real need for safety and to be seen and heard and understood. And you don't have to do a lot of work in order to, to heal any of those places where you haven't been safe or where you haven't been seen and heard and understood and where you haven't been able to have a healthy connection with your parents or loved ones when you were growing up or caretakers. And goodness knows all the betrayals we've all gone through in past lives, right? So we're needing to balance that out and then to just know what those real needs are. To heal the real needs, you just have to honor that they're there. And there's something about it that just kind of, dissolves the issues. So that's what we're going through, right? But humanity as a whole, is evolving. So we might see like money scandals, sex scandals. This polarity here brings in that, human trafficking, money laundering, human trafficking, human misery built on the backs of money laundering. Like, of course, what Putin has been involved in, which is why sanctions are not scaring him, because he thinks he will just always have all the money he wants because he knows how to work it. But at what price with his soul is he going to have to, make amends at some point? So anyway, the rest of the week, let's see what else. To get back to our mundane astrology here, that was a little bit of soul astrology. Now let's get back to this mundane thing we're going through. Mercury conjunct what am I saying? Because I'm seeing Aquarius here. Mercury conjunct Saturn in Aquarius. We've been building, this has been the buildup. And it's going to continue. This will be here all week. But it'll move past and be, past. But right now we're thinking about, oh my goodness, what about all of humanity? Can we open our hearts and not flinch, not disengage? That's the task here. With Aquarius. With Aquarius, it can be really challenging in the fact that for us empaths, sensitives, you can feel into the pain of the world, and the question then becomes, how good are you? How well do you? How much can you open up to your feelings? And feel anything and not be afraid of your feelings. That becomes the question. Because humanity we are all unique. We all have a unique spiritual essence that never leaves us. I mean, yes, we evolve, and yes, we grow as humans, but our spiritual essence is very unique, and we're needing to honor that. And so we should be thinking along those terms of honoring how we're all different, how we can have some very original ideas, Aquarius original, Mercury ideas, and ways to communicate. And we can all tolerate each other in our differences. That we love that. Now, the biggest pain with Aquarius is that, we're not, somebody and some people are not being treated humanely, right? Or they're being stuck in a box, put in a box. Right? So here's the tension field. It's coming in with Mercury, and it's been coming in. It's going to move past, but we still have this little bit of time here, for this week. Or actually, I'm sorry, Mercury squaring Uranus is really just for the next couple days. But we do have the Sun, Jupiter, and Neptune here. That this sextile here that gives us that opportunity to heal. This is all week long, and this Neptune, like I said before, to the South Node to deeply heal the past. That is more than this week. So let's see what else. With the Moon trine the North Node here, this brings in that ability to, just know that you can do it. The moon in Capricorn to me is like, just know that you can do it. You can do it, and you can move towards what matters to you most, because Taurus, of course, is all about values, and Venus is all about values. And we've got this trine up here. To have these three, well, it's actually four, but there's a lot of power in knowing that you can do it. You can do it, and that will move you forward on your path. So again, that's why I had to talk about the real needs. I had to talk about, getting into your true values. And if your true values are, like Putin, just make money, well, there's going to be a price to pay for that later on. But I don't always see connections, like the blue lines are usually harmonious, but I don't see that happens in life. It's not always harmonious, but when the connections are made, between the planets, things happen, and we can see this happening, right? I mean, if you were a beginner astrologer and you saw all these, trines and sextiles to the nodes, you would think, oh, everything is just going to get better and better. But look what happened in Ukraine, right? So we can't ignore that. It was a connection. Painful as it may be, it's, the connection was there. So but on another level, all of our prayers and all of our, besides our prayers, doing whatever we can as far as our choices, our free will and our choices, like actually doing, these are, we've got the energy there to actually do. And especially up here with Capricorn, this is a lot of like doing. It's cardinal earth energy, active. So if we can align our actions with what's good for all of humanity, then things will get better and better and better. So donate where you can. And if you can't, donations, prayers, everything towards the laws of love, towards loving each other, will help, will definitely help. And especially with this lineup today with the moon, packed with the power of Pluto, and then Mars that moves energy, and then Venus that can bring in resources in Capricorn. As Capricorn at its best, like I said, has to do with integrity, but it also has to do with hard work and responsibility and taking self-responsibility. Taking self-responsibility for our belief system, I think, is the best way to go. But, that's a daily, moment-to-moment thing, right? So what do we believe in is the key, right? So this up here can have us, this lineup with Capricorn can have us working really hard on what matters to us, but we also have this beautiful energy over here to help us think about everyone else too. And I don't see any difference between, me versus the other. I don't believe that, but yeah. Okay, so I think I'm done with this chart. Although just remember, a lot of these transits here are going through. We will have this, all week going on. Oh, you know what I didn't talk about? Hold on. This Pluto here, I didn't talk about these little semi-squares down here. So a semi-square, it's minor. It's not as bad as a square as far as challenging, but it's there's friction. It brings in something that's like, it's like an itch you need to scratch, or just something that is irritating, a little bit irritating. But always, whether or not it's in with a square or semi-square to Capricorn, this makes it doubly important, being in Capricorn. The trick here with this, to deal with it, is that what we need to do is make choices. An action needs to be taken in order to, like I said, like if you have an itch, you have to scratch it, and then it feels better, right? Then it goes away. But we have to make the choice to do something. So I feel like for this, to get into our power and our integrity and have control over our lives and master our lives, we need to meditate and we need to pray. And if you're not a person that prays or meditates, that's cool too. Then just stick with all the things that help you feel loving. So your pets or whatever you love in your life. If you can do your best to keep your heart open, that's all you need, right? That's it. Because once you're connected into the love of your heart, you're connected into the universe. We're all together in the heart of hearts. So now I feel clear with this one. Okay, so Monday comes along, of course. And I feel like we have some questions. Like, of course, we have this going on all week, this moon. I'm sorry, not the moon. We have so Pluto, Mars, and even though the moon has moved over here, and I'll talk about that in a minute, but but Pluto, Mars, and Venus together, this is still going to be all week long, and this trine to the North Node that I just spoke to a lot, and this sextile to the South Node, this is all week long. Okay, so just hold in mind, if you have to rewind and listen to, some of it in the beginning, the rest of the day should go a little more quickly because I'm just going to go through the moon, the transits of the moons, or the moon. So, so anyway, what I'm feeling like here with this, because the moon's newly, conjunct Mercury, but it's going to cross over this way. It's going to keep going this way. Remember, like I said, it's going to go all the way over past here. For today, the question to me is, how do what if we start thinking in terms of how do we create peace and safety for all? Well, that might feel overwhelming if you go there in your mind. But what I want to tell you is that I believe that it's always that everything is an inside job first. So if you can create safety for yourself in your own life, best you can. Now, we can't control everything, but just remember, that's why I started out at the beginning of this reading speaking to your spirit is always safe. And if, hopefully, I always feel like hopefully if things were terrible, your spirit would take you out so that you don't suffer, right? If in those moments of death, I pray that everyone has that experience to just be, and there are so many people on the planet now with near-death experiences that they can tell you that they just suddenly, they might have felt really uncomfortable, or suddenly they were out of their bodies and they had to realize, oh wait, oh my goodness, what happened? What am I looking at down there? And they see themselves like on a gurney or in a car accident, but they're not feeling the pain because their spirit literally took them out. So, that's something to know, is that you're safe in your spirit, but the way to create the safe, the feelings of peace and safety is to do your best to feel peaceful and safe within. And you're only going to get that if you do that work to connect with your heart or your spirit, whatever you want to call it. I don't have a preference there. I don't see there being anything different than your love or your spirit. It's all one and the same to me. So with that in mind, when you love yourself, when you have love in your heart, and it's work, it is work to constantly choose love. It means that your mind has to catch yourself. You have to set the intention to catch yourself when you're in a negative thought. Can you imagine how many times a day I have to turn myself around? But my experience has been is that you can shift reality inside of you instantaneously. For instance, laundry's piled up to the point, okay, gotta do laundry. And they're like, God dang it, I don't want to do the laundry. It's the last thing I want to do today. Maybe I can let it go till tomorrow and take care of this other stuff. And then, okay, but when you finally get there, at some point, so what helps me is that I become very, very grateful that I don't have to go drag it down to the river and pound it against rocks or pound rocks or, you know what I mean, and risk maybe a bear taking me out or what. I try to reel myself back in time and think about how hard it was. And then I think back into my this lifetime, where I used to have to go to the laundromat. Or I used to have to drag it down to this apartment building I lived once in Santa Monica. It was just like a basement, laundry room was in this disgusting basement. Ugh. Anyway, I didn't live there very long, but or an apartment building where you still have to bring your laundry in and out. Well, now I just go, hey, you know what? I have my laundry room in my house. So I'm so grateful for that. So that's how I do stupid stuff like that. I turn it around in my head and look at what I have to be grateful for. So eventually you become happier and more peaceful within, and as you do that, it radiates outwardly into the world. And this is where I want to, if you don't already know this, if you do, I'm preaching to the choir, truly. But if you don't, just know that at least I believe, is that everything's an inside job, and everything that you have done for yourself to love yourself and to heal yourself, you naturally radiate that outwardly as you move through life. And that means that, if you don't have money to donate or time to volunteer or to give, if all you do is just work on healing yourself, that's more than enough. That is honestly more than enough. But generally, the more you're in touch with your spirit, the more you want to give, and to give is actually a real need. To give love is a real need. Another real need. Most people think it's to receive love. No, it's really to give love, because the giving is in the receiving is in the giving. Giving and receiving are one and the same. So let's get back to the moon here, because everything else I think I've covered. The moon, you can see how it's 10 degrees here. It is squaring Uranus, and it is connecting with Mercury. And Mercury's not out of orb yet of its square. You can see these two red lines here to Uranus. Uranus is like electricity. And in Taurus, it's in the body. So this is this nervous tension I was talking about. So with the moon coming together today, for Monday, it could be, again, that nervous tension. Be careful not to drink too much coffee or tea this morning. Be careful to keep yourself very grounded. Take those big, deep breaths. Do your best to not detach from our hearts is the task today. The more we can feel, the more we can heal. And it may require a lot of deep breathing and grounding and releasing, but the more we do that, the more your spirit will come into your body. And like I was saying before, it's spiritualizing matter is a very real life experience you can have. I can vouch for that. It doesn't mean that your body always feels so good, though, because when you open up to your spirit more and more, and all the love in the universe. So maybe I'm going to just take the word spirit out. If you open up to all the love in the universe, and you're constantly working that way, sometimes our connective tissue, it has to go through that opening, and it can be a little like owie. Sometimes breathing more life into your connective tissue than you've ever had before. So, you just take it one day at a time, one moment at a time. Try not to numb out too much. If you're in a lot of pain, of course, we do have things like Advil and, I can't myself take Tylenol. I feel it's toxic to the liver, but I can take Advil every once in a while. But I only do it if I have like a migraine or something, which only happens to me if I eat the wrong thing. So, being very careful with our diets is helpful. So, but anyway, all week long, we do have this friction and this irritation. And the question to me when I was feeling into this is like, what is truly under my control and what isn't, right? Because here we have all this energy and consciousness of surrender. And then up here we have controlling and our self-responsibility and our duty, right? And that hard work. So we have to be careful. What I see here in this pattern, with this especially that comes to like a critical point on Monday, is to be careful to not overwork, because there's nervous tension, because this can be overwork, right? You want it. Mars and Capricorn wants to like get it done. Venus is right there like, yeah, we got to get it done. I won't feel good until I get it done. Well, be careful about pushing yourself, because with all this like nervous, or I should say, it doesn't have to be nervous, but it can be stimulating, very stimulating to the nervous system, because Aquarius and Uranus rule the nervous system and electricity and all forms of, waking up. Uranus is the great awakener. So if we're waking up in meditation, that's going to be great, but don't overwork. Be careful about pushing ourselves for this day. Be very careful. And let's see, what else? All week it feels like we kind of need to be careful about repressing anything that's like under the surface, but it feels to me like that question that's lurking beneath is, like I was saying before, do I really matter? Do I matter? Do I belong? Why do some people want to hurt others? Right? Like going through, we're all holding space. We're all these spiritually sensitive, loving beings, and we're holding space for the atrocities that we're seeing on the planet, and it can be overwhelming. And so that's why, I was saying before, like if you need to, like pull your energy back and just send love. And but then again, on another level, it's there's a lot of evolution that happens when you're okay with feeling your feelings, feeling all of your feelings. You will become much more strong and less afraid, right? So yeah, but then with the moon up here, conjunct, just to give this one more last piece of what's the right word? Power, I guess. Power to the moon, power to the people. For Monday and Tuesday, because the moon's going to go, this way, further. I feel like it's about us honoring the fact that we're human and our hearts and our spirits are guiding us to stop detaching from our hearts and detaching from each other. Like, that's why I was saying, don't be apathetic. Just allow yourself to feel whatever you need to feel, whatever comes up, whatever you feel. It's going to be one of two things. If it's an emotional reaction, like, something that makes you feel aggressive or something that makes you feel like you need to withdraw, or something that makes you feel like, and aggression can be passive aggression too. But if we're in emotional reaction, we're either going to be in aggression, passive aggression, withdrawal, or submission. And if we're doing any of that, then we're going to be in the past. So, and it's not going to work well for us, because those are like forcing currents that actually, when we do those things, we end up getting the opposite of what we wanted in the beginning. But we just don't know it. And it's because we're coming from those old survival places of, being a kid and trying to stay connected to our caretakers, because if we don't survive, right? So if we're healing that from the past, at the same time we're opening up to the pain on the planet, and the pain of the planet, right? Not just the humans on the planet, but Mother Earth herself having to try and keep it all together so we can still live on her, even though we're going through some very challenging times. But anyway, just to be with the whole thing and allow yourself to feel whatever you need to feel. And if you're feeling a lot of pain, you can back out of it if you need to. You can take times, you can go in and out. But at some point, what happens is the emotionally reactive material that's very, very powerful winds up dissolving into just the state of being able to feel whatever comes along, and you're okay with feeling whatever you need to feel. And that's what opens you up to your wisdom and your psychic abilities and your intuition. It's not working it all from the mind and doing all these mental exercises, although to focus, to meditate and learn how to focus your mind, that is very, very, very valuable. But to try to come at it from just the mind without doing the emotional body healing work, which the moon represents, and as well as, well, I think it all represents that, but that it won't work that way. But it's okay. You don't have to worry about it really, because life will always bring you whatever you need to feel and heal. Or heal, I should say. And in order to heal it, you have to feel it, right? That's how it works. So, okay, so that's it. Let's look at Tuesday. So with Tuesday, the moon's here. See how it's moved past, right? Like I said, it would. But it's in a T-square. See how we have this red line here and red line here? So to the nodes, the moon is in a T-square up here at the apex point to the nodes. And the way, when that happens, the way to heal for me is here's how I do it, because I studied evolutionary astrology. I never got certified that way, but I self-studied. What I was taught is you go to whatever planet is in the apex, and then you go to the left. To that node of the left would be the resolution node. So if it were the north node, then you would go there. So the nodes, I spoke about it quite a bit in the signs in the polarity of Taurus to Scorpio. But to go to the south node for healing means to go to the past, because remember, the south node would be at the past. Our nodes have to do with past life experience, past life wisdom, the wisdom because we've gone through the experiences, right? And then the north node, so you always, I never feel like, you want to get away from the south node and always move towards the north node. It's like, no, you bring that wisdom of the past life experience into the present moment, and then you move forward. So moving to the north node is how we heal and how we integrate, and we move towards that inner unity. Like I said before, we're reconciling those dualistic opposites or dualistic splits. I'm redundant saying dualistic opposites. We're reconciling the opposite polarity. And the way to do that is to bring your past life wisdom. And here, because we also have, and so I'm just lining up everything with the moon here, right? So to go to the past, whatever needs to heal from the past, which is always the case, but especially today, we won't be able to move forward unless we heal something from the past. That's the opportunity for the day. But then we also have this sesquisquare here to Chiron. So then that brings into me that inner question, and Chiron is also in this semi-square to the north node, right? So there's a little kind of here that says to me, like, how well have we met that real need for safety, and what are our real values? How well have we opened up to what matters to us most? What our real true values are. Are they based in love, or are they based in more money, more toys kind of thing? Has there been, or are we in process of the deeper transformation up here? That's the thing. So that's why I had to speak to those real needs for that inner security, right? Because Taurus is all about having inner security. Here we come into the body, we come into our body, our spirit meets the body, our love of our spirit, the love meets our body. It's like, I'm here. And then Taurus is like, oh, I have a body. Wow, look at this. And then, as a baby, it's all nonverbal. It's more experiential, right, as an infant. And then at some point they realize they can think and they can talk. They can feel everything, and then they have some ability to create their reality. But children don't really have a lot of free will. It's all based on their parents. But there was that whole spiritual setup to get them into those two parents. Control. So that's another whole topic. I'd be here forever if I talk. Well, not forever, but I'd be here another hour if I talk about that. So I'll let that go for now. So for Tuesday, That's the main thing I see. So much just for processing. How well have we met our real need for safety? And what are my real values? Is the question I kept hearing. Like, what are my real values? And then on another level, just on the mundane, which I don't want to be too political here, but we do have to honor the fact that we're all living on the planet at the same time that there are people in power over like oil resources, and because Neptune rules oil and Pluto rules power, and these are people with money. And, the Saudis said that they're going to side with Russia and they won't help with the oil supply to USA or Europe. So, of course, what happens right off is like, and I don't have any stocks, but the Dow Jones just tanked, I don't know how bad it's going to get, but oil prices are going to go up like crazy. So again, what do we really value? Are we going to keep traveling so much? Are we going to keep burning all that crude oil? Or are we going to fight for renewables? Are we going to fight for renewables? That's the question on a mundane level. Okay, so Wednesday here we have, can you see it there? Oh yeah, it's still in frame. The Pisces New Moon. So I changed the time, so it's 9:34 a.m. Pacific time, which would be 12:30, about 12:35 or whatever p.m. Eastern, and then of course 1:30 for Atlantic. So anyway, with this Pisces New Moon. And remember, new moons are always the opportunity to set an intention for what you want to manifest. And it may very well come true at the full moon. It's possible. Or it can be something long-term. But anyway, here what I'm seeing most of all with the new moon, with the rest of this, astrological setup that I've spoken to, talked probably a little too much before, so I won't go over it again, but just to say that what I see here with its Neptune trine, South Node, sextiling the North Node, and then this aspect of the architect like I was talking about before, where we can align with divine order. It's all there, the spiritual's all there to hold us and to help us manifest something new. But just remember, Pisces, it's like open up to that pure potentiality. Open up to spirit, open up to source, open up to your heart. You can work to let go of anything that you might want to. It's like boundless energy where there aren't any limitations. You can open up in the spiritual realm to enter into and heal anything. It's going to be excellent for dream time. Set intentions before you go to sleep. This is something I always do, but it's going to be especially potent to be able to access information, whatever you want to know. Whatever you need to. I mean, I remember years ago going to sleep one night and asking, "What's my karma? What is my what the heck was my karma? I want details as to my karma for this lifetime." And man, the dream I had, it is still just vividly like burned into my consciousness. I didn't have to write it down, but I did. But I realized later I didn't even need to because I can still remember exactly all of it, and it has helped me, immensely. So whatever you want to know in dream time, set the intention before you go to bed. Of course, keep a dream journal next to you. And I found what's easier is when you're doing your spiritual work and you're trying to track your false beliefs. You have to journal those things out, right? Because you have to find your false belief, turn it into the opposite, which is a truthful statement, and work on the affirmative level towards that. And it's a long process, which is something I help people with, every day in readings and personal process sessions. So, hit me up on my website if you want to book one of those, or email me if you can't figure out how to get into my website. But I mean, it's all right there. in the like if you click on, so if you're in YouTube and you click on those little arrows, at the, you've got the title, there's two little arrows and you click on that, it opens up this whole world. It's kind of like right click on your, with your mouse, opens up this whole world, and then there are hot links to get to my website and how to book sessions and all that. But anyway, to do your spiritual work, there's all this support. And there's this friction here, which I actually like seeing, because it means that we won't feel better until we start doing the work. So if your only intention is to heal your soul and heal your humanity, just knowing that your spirit's there to help you, I have to tell you guys that there is nothing that helps you feel more safe than knowing that you have this realm of guides and guardian angels that give you information to help you on your path. But the way it works is that you have to ask for help. They don't, unless it's an emergency type of a situation, and it was all set up before birth where you're not going to check out or be hurt in a certain way because your guides are going to step in and intervene. The general rule is that you have to ask. They're waiting for you to ask, and they won't bring you the information until you ask, because they are not allowed to take away your free will. They're not going to, at least I don't believe my experience, I'm pushing 70, my life experience is that I had to ask. And, and you have to ask for, it's like asking your friend for help or a family member for help. They're not going to know you need it unless you ask. And you might even have to stop and explain it in a whole different way than they heard it, because maybe they weren't listening, or maybe you didn't say it right. Like I've had that happen so many times. Like, oh wait, that didn't come out right at all. Let me start over. And so our guides and our guardian angels, they know what's best for us. They're always 9 steps ahead of us, and they're always like guiding us in a certain direction. But they're waiting for us to ask, and that can be this lever law here. You have to ask. And then this whole realm is open to you. And it was always there in the past. And now you can transform, transmutate, trust, get into the secrets of the universe, getting out of fear, getting out of the fear of betrayal, getting out of betraying yourself and the best of yourself. By opening up to your guides, guardian angels, and basically you're opening up to yourself, because you're all one. So opening up to the highest levels of love is what I always do. I just, I say the forces of love, and to me that's God, but it doesn't have to be. I have zero connection to any religion at all. But I definitely have the spiritual connection. I don't see them as needing to be separate, but I also don't see them as being one and the same. So anyway, because goodness knows we've been controlled by religion in the past, right? So anyway, let's see. Is there anything else for this new moon? I think it's mostly about what choices, what actions, because there's friction here, what choices, what actions, even what attitudes, like I was saying before, what do we really want? Like, what do we need to do? What do we need to realize within? And what do we really want? And because, what do we want? What is within that needs to be healed? And what do we need to, most of all, embrace in order to live in peace and therefore be happy and to be hooked up to your spirit? what are you truly resourced in? Resource. Human and then spiritual resource tied together. And thinking out of the box, because look how tight this orb here is here, right? And notice how Mercury, let's see, did I miss it yesterday? No. Look what happened in one day. Mercury went bumped right up to Saturn, said, hey, I'm moving on, and then went on the other side. So now Mercury, which connects to the mind and the way we communicate and the way we think and the way we process information, has opened up and it's even moved past the guy that holds the rules and regs on the earth, time, Father Time, all that, and has moved past and realized, oh well, but I'm headed towards all that is. And I'm headed towards all that is loving and is so much bigger than just the rules here on Earth. And now we're headed towards Mercury, towards, in Mercury in Pisces. Oh my goodness, it's like our minds can just expand so far. And Jupiter's already there, inching more closely towards Neptune. Jupiter expands everything it touches. Jupiter can heal, but it can also blow things up too. So that's where, we have to be careful. But let's see. So what else with this Pisces new moon? Is there anything else? Yeah, no, I think we're good because we don't have, notice how there aren't any aspects to Mercury and Saturn up here. They're just kind of sitting there together, which is cool. In Aquarius, way cool. Okay, so Thursday comes along, and remember how we had that T-square to the moon a few days ago? Well, now we have the T-square to Mercury to the nodes, right? So it's possible that something opened up to heal us. We opened up to heal something in our emotional bodies and to bring in those free-flowing feelings that connect to our spirits, like I was speaking to before. But now with Mercury, there can be some integration with the mind. And it can be a little challenging, but it's work that needs to be done, because if we don't integrate, we don't stabilize. Jupiter comes in and opens things up, and then Saturn comes in and contracts. So we've got expansion, contraction. But what's in between those two is stasis. And so with Jupiter and Saturn being the builders of the zodiac, we're always, we should be building upon our spiritual essence, but in between the healing process, we do have to stop and integrate. And that is the stasis. It kind of brings things together. But I don't feel like stasis is stuck, and I don't feel like contraction is stuck. It's just like, you take a big deep breath. You can hold your breath for a minute, and then you exhale. And even the way our hearts beat, it's like the blood comes in one side, and then there's this like O-ring in the middle, where kind of like an O-ring. where there's like a whoosh, and then a stabilizing before it pushes out into the blood vessels and, arteries and blood vessels. Yeah, it's like our bodies are even lined up so perfectly that way. It's a miracle. It's all a miracle. So anyway, again, that resolution node is, with Mercury, with the mind, is to go to the past. And what I was feeling here is that I was really tuned into the Scorpio South Node. It feels to me like, it's a challenge. But if we can forgive, we can open up those portals to abundance, abundance with more ease. I mean, you can create abundance even without forgiveness, of course. Lots of people do it. But it's harder. you're having to work harder. It doesn't come from your inner being, you know. We're working from our ego rather than our spirit, working from our ego rather than our inner being. We can still make it happen, but it's harder. So if you want to manifest with ease, that means that we have to forgive. Doesn't mean we have to forget. But, you tend to do just kind of forget, like how somebody really hurt you when you finally can get to the place where you forgive. And it's a process. So don't ever put yourself down for how long it takes. Just be with yourself and if you set the intention, if you want to, everything's choice, everything's free will. But any way that we may have even betrayed ourselves in the past, that might be sometimes the hardest thing to forgive. But when we do, then everything opens up. Everything in the world opens up. Okay, so then Friday here, what's different with, I'm always looking at the moon once we get to a certain point. Notice how the moon has gone. We had the moon cross over, from all the way, like I said, just like tracking along and bringing more power to our love and our spirits. And now it's even moved over, crossed over Neptune, and it's in the sign of Aries, right? So now with this moon conjunct Chiron, again, we're going to need to just continue to keep choosing to love ourselves no matter what. Keep choosing to matter to yourself and belong to yourself no matter what. Keep being brave. Keep being courageous to feel whatever you need to feel. Keep blazing your own trail and asserting your individual, unique self, right? And part of it might be to let go of the need to be first or the need to be right, or God forbid, don't leave me out, like that kind of, sometimes that happens, right? People forget to remind you that, please come here and do this, or they forgot about you all completely in a group thing, and we're all human and we all make mistakes. So don't take it personally. That's the key, especially with Chiron and Aries. Do your best to stop taking things personally. And if you love yourself and you matter to yourself and you belong to yourself, then you've got the universe, because the universe is inside of you. Remember, it's in the nucleus of every cell in your body. Don't ever forget that. And that's verifiable on the level of quantum physics, and you can look it up and research it if you want. And then I can stop preaching to the choir. Okay, so with Friday here, that's it. I don't have anything else to say about Friday on the spiritual level, on the soul level, which is both. Saturday comes along. It's a little trickier today. We've got this, that tension field that we've had about, loving and belonging to ourselves. And being brave and courageous, because the moon has crossed over Chiron, so there was something there. But we're still in that tension field, but the tension's easing into the weekend. Except, notice how Pluto is in this exact. We've got it's not a square; it's a semi-square to Neptune here. And notice how Mars and Venus have crossed over. When did that happen? See, I missed that, you guys. Drat, I'm not perfect. When the heck did that happen? Was it yeah, so Sunday. Yeah, you see, I love it how those personal planets just truck along. Yeah, they went closer and closer. And then now, let's see, when did they get on the other side, though? Mars did it first, of course, because Mars... Well, no, not really. Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Venus moves faster than Mars. That's why sometimes it gets so darn confusing, because we're dealing with just minutes of time here, right? But yeah, Venus moves faster than Mars, but not a whole lot. Well, Venus gets around the zodiac in a year, but yeah, Mars takes 2 years. But it's still not. Mars still isn't like twice, or still isn't twice as fast because of the retrogrades. That's what it is. But anyway, so Mars moves energy, and Pluto is like deep soul energy, and then Venus is over here just, ready to receive, and Venus is all about values and what matters most. So Thursday, yeah, that's when it happened. And then by Friday, both were on the other side. And notice how 28 degrees, 27, 28, now we're at 29 degrees. Before we know it, these two, you could call it the divine masculine and divine feminine. Well, within, there's no separation. We just, seem to incarnate in these bodies of one or the other. But you don't have to identify that way, of course. But anyway, I digress, man. It's like squirrel. My dear friend over at Bathrobe Tarot, Danny Shea, he's always like, squirrel, because he gets distracted too. We were born on the same day. We have all the same, we have different ascendant, but we have all the same, other planetary setup. But anyway, Venus and Mars together, so like I was saying before, Mars moves energy, and then Venus, that wanting to, in Capricorn, it's this real desire to accomplish something. And it's also, Capricorn energy wants to commit, and there's power in finding what, and who all these people are that you can commit to, right? But you have to find your commitment to yourself on the inner levels first, and then things work out from there. But with Saturday here, it's the tension's easing up, like I was saying, over the weekend here. But we do have, because notice how, well, the trine was happening altogether. I mean, still, it's the same. It doesn't seem to matter which side they were on. We still have this triple trine to the North Node. So everything I said before still applies. What's a little bit different is that Venus and Mars here, or I should say Venus and Mars here, we can't take them all together, even though there's not an exact, oh wait, actually there is. Well, Venus and Mars are exactly semi-square the Sun. And then Pluto is exactly semi-square Neptune. Or I'm sorry, Jupiter. Yeah, Neptune's kind of out of the tension field there. So, but anyway, again, remember when we're in that realm of semi-square, it's just like that scratch you have to itch, and you need to take action, and otherwise it's going to bug you. So this could be a little irritating. And if it is, it would be more about, what do I really need to commit to? Maybe you've had a hard time committing to your spiritual path, or opening up your heart to love yourself truly and to be more optimistic, Jupiter optimistic. And now it's still bugging you. And at some point you have to go, you know what? I'm just going to try it. I'm just going to try thinking, believing that the universe is based in a complete web of love. And when you doubt it, I always go to that place of just thinking. You can go online. There's some, in my astrology lesson section in my memberships, I have a bunch of astrology lessons, and I think the very first one I did was, I think there's a video in there that I found online, or at least referenced it, as to how it's such a trip. Is how, of course, all the planets are rotating around the sun, and the the luminary of the moon. Everything's going around the sun, but it's not just that that's happening, and that's happening at, like, let's see, it's like, so the Earth is spinning. I think it's 67,000 miles an hour, And that's happening. And all the other planets are rotating. They have their own, speed as well. But that's happening at the same time that they're all rotating around. So they're moving, each planet's moving. So we're on Earth, moving, rotating at 67,000 miles per hour, and because of gravity, we don't fall off. And if that doesn't blow your mind enough, then imagine also, because the truth is that the planets planets in the moon, the luminary, are all moving around, going through the solar system, rotating like this, moving forward all together like this within the Milky Way. So they're spinning, 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 and then rotating this way in this spiraling. Anyway, so I think that that's proof that the universe is created in a web of love. Otherwise, we would just fall off the planet. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here and be able to evolve ourselves, So, yeah. So I think, is that all I have to say about Saturday? Yeah, that happened. We talked about that. Let's see this here. Got this friction going here. Yeah, we talked about that. Right. These two together are definitely in that T-square to the south node. So it's, again, thinking about the difference between rules and regulations and how free you can be within. Now, true freedom comes from self-responsibility. So if you can be responsible for knowing that you create your own reality based on your belief system, and if you can align with love, you should have a much, much more loving experience in life. Then that's the key to the whole thing. That's the key to the whole thing. But now this is a big but. Big caveat here. When things don't go right, that doesn't mean that you did something wrong or that you're bad or stupid or those are just words to throw away. It doesn't mean that you're inadequate or inferior. It just means that you're living here on planet Earth, and planet Earth isn't perfect, right? So on one level, at least you can let go of needing to be perfect yourself, but on the from the spiritual realm, where we have this memory in our, we even have cellular memory because our spirits are within our cells. That, imagine, like I said before, when you're in the spirit realm, the highest realms of spirit, you can't even have a negative thought. You're one with all that is. So you decide you want to experience something, and then bam, you've got it. Shazam, you're in it. So we have this place where we remember that, but it's unconscious. It's within our wise unconscious, but we still have that memory. And then when it doesn't happen here on Earth, we think there's something wrong with us just because things didn't go the way that we wanted, right? So that's the thing to let go of, that when things don't go right, it doesn't mean that you're inadequate or inferior on any level. Okay, so Sunday, and so this is for the last day, all the way through to March 6th. Here we are. And the question, I think, with this, because of this lineup, now look how Mars and Venus actually moved. Look at that, how quickly that went. Right there. From Mars and Venus into Capricorn is now into Aquarius. So now things are really opening up, because we're going to have this, Pluto's going to stay here for quite some time, through the end of the year. It's going to take... actually, it's gonna take until Pluto's not gonna move into Aquarius until, I can't remember the date, but it's in 2023, and then there's going to be a retrogradation where it goes back, so there's going to be some time that way. But anyway, let's leave Pluto out of the mix here and focus on these 4 planets, because these two are moving together. They're in conjunction, and then there's going to be this stellium. A stellium is 3 or more planets in one sign. When we have this stellium in Aquarius, man, hold on to your hats, because it's going to go one of two ways. Either people will be rebelling against the status quo, and especially when we have that, the Saturn-Uranus square will happen in the fall. We've got this breather now, but it's going to happen again in the fall for the last phase. And then when that happens, because remember when it first happened, we had the Capitol riots. Well, the good news is, and my Pluto return video is in there if you want to watch it, the USA's Pluto return. But the good news is that democracy held. The ones who stormed the Capitol and committed those crimes, they're either gone into another country or locked up and doing their sentence. Right? If only we could get the one who started and instigate the whole thing to be locked up and doing his sentence. That would be great. And all those who helped him. We've got the 14 fake electors. We've got the, we've got all kinds of people who are treasonous, traitors. So justice is coming, is what I think, and our democracy did hold. But for us personally, this is a lot of people waking up to the truth and connecting, because Aquarius energy connects the dots. You can see the bigger pattern. And we're in that realm of like group consciousness that is, holding space for freedom. Holding space for freedom. So, but just for the day though, we have to follow the moon here. Notice how we do have the square up here to these three. They're still in enough of a conjunction with Pluto. So there can be some stubbornness, but then later on throughout the day, and especially as the moon starts moving towards Uranus, notice that's happening, right? We'll be in that next week. Again, it's like opening up to love is the important thing, and loving each other through it. So when challenging things come up on the news, my biggest challenge is to go into my love and then send love to those people that people that are just causing problems. But now there's nothing wrong with wishing people get their their justice, because that's how they learn, right? Because if this goes along with like anybody who's ever gone through an abusive relationship, if you allow the abuser to abuse you, you're also abusing their soul, because you're not teaching them how to treat you. And if you're not teaching them how to treat you, you're not teaching them how to love. But you have to love yourself enough first to like get away from that abuser. So there's a lot in that. But anyway, so here, the only thing that for Sunday is just to know that we're this Mercury in Aquarius is headed towards Pisces, like I said before. So it's going to be, we're working towards freedom, and then it's more into compassionate love. But it can also be, like I said before, blaming and scapegoating and gaslighting. And we have seen that happen politically. So holding space for all of that, man, it's challenging. And then, we still have all those other aspects that I spoke about before. But again, I just feel like it's about how well have we aligned our minds with the laws of love that honors all of creation as sacred. That's the real question. And with that, I think I'll close it up, because I'm not really seeing anything else here that I haven't already addressed. If I missed anything and you're an astrologer, please feel free to comment and let me know, because I'm not perfect. I miss things all the time. Yeah. So, okay. Well, that's it, though. Thanks, you guys. Take good care. Bye.